cause of the disease. We know it's a mutation in the gene NOTCH3, and this gene belongs to a family of genes that is one of the most well-known and best studied biological pathways, biological signaling pathways in life. This is not something, oh, NOTCH3 is new, what is this? No. We knew everything about NOTCH3 before we even knew NOTCH3 was there, because NOTCH, as a gene, as a protein, as a receptor, was discovered by my former advisor, the guy I worked for at Harvard. He discovered NOTCH in flies, in insects. And the NOTCH that is in these insects is not much different than the one we have. It's actually very similar in the chemistry, the way it works, the way it looks, everything is very similar. We knew a lot back then, and we know even more about NOTCH. We know how to activate it, we know how it's made, we know how it's regulated, we know everything about NOTCH. What is happening here? Why do we know so much about NOTCH, and we know now so much about disease, and we still don't know and don't have a cure? What do you think?
I think that one of the reasons is I think it's underdiagnosed. So I think there hasn't been a lot of focus on it and a need to find a cure.
To put resources towards it. If we knew it was more prevalent, if a lot more people have it, more resources could be devoted to it. What else?
I want to ask them something. Who all in here was misdiagnosed with MS first?
There's a lot more bikes in this room.
Yeah.
I think that point is exactly that. Like Devin's doctor, neurologist, thought he was a strange MS case. And I think if there was more information out there, like a resource, like a place, well, here's where you could go. We asked him, we'll go anywhere in the country. Who would be an expert on this? We didn't know. If there was a center for research and treatment somewhere, or there were 2 or 3 or 4 doctors who were interested in it. Because all these people in Casper, Wyoming, and Raleigh, North Carolina, and Las Vegas, Nevada, one doctor with 2 patients, they're not going to draw any conclusions from that. They're not going to put their information out there, because if you have a subject study of 2 to their peers, that doesn't look very weighty, I guess. And I think the other thing, somewhat related to this, is that stroke is one of the hallmark, issues. And with TPA and the advancement of TPA, a lot of doctors feel like stroke can be treated if it's treated early enough. And so I think that hurts people with CADASIL, because some people in the medical community feel like the problem with stroke is that people aren't eating right, and then once they have a stroke, they don't get to the hospital fast enough. That's not really the case here, but they're not researching it because it only affects so few people, it seems. So we need to capture more patients, like you said, less misdiagnosis, capture more patients, have them in one place, or registered in one place, and then they would see that we need to find a way to help treat patients who have a stroke. I mean, our neurologist, I said, what happens if he has a stroke? Do we need to go to the hospital? They're like,
They don't know.
not really.
Unless you have other symptoms, is what my doctor said. Your heart's fine, your breathing fine, stay home.
So they're not going to find a cure for that because they don't know how many there are out there.
And they are also not collaborating, and there is not like the resources are not shared. There is not enough collaboration.
That's
or
why
even
an
just
awareness campaign has to really be started, and people really have to take an active role in getting the word out.
Yes.
So
how do we get the word out to, like the AMA, American Medical Association, and have them get the information to doctors, nurses. The emergency room is another source. You go there and they look at you kind of funny, like, well, I have CADASIL, They look at you and you try to explain it to them and even show them a paper, and they could care less if they read the papers.
Kathy. Oh my gosh, I don't have CADASIL, but I can't remember. And I couldn't remember your name. Ann and I have been working on like a list of areas that we think need
Well, the MS community is a targeted community because they have almost 3 million patients diagnosed with MS, and knowing right there, if you can maybe get maybe 50,000 of them could have CADASIL already.
We will put things, we will put the emphasis, we will really bring it up to, so there is a problem of focus, there is a problem of resources, and there is a problem of getting people together to work on it. Anything else?
Well,
that you
MS gets a lot of money, so a lot of money and funding that's going to MS should be going to ruling out CADASIL
Yeah, if we
first.
could find the
think?
four.
Funding.
Yeah.
Before they're diagnosing these people with MS, they should be tested for CADASIL.
And I was just gonna suggest, what can, because there are so many neurologists out there who don't even know what CADASIL is. When we took her to the hospital when she had her stroke-like symptoms, thank goodness that the neurologist, saw a case in another state, wasn't even his patient, so it crossed his mind.
No, actually, it was the radiologist who did
Oh, the radio.
my MRI. The radiologist did all, he picked it up because it was in my report. He's like, well, we could test you for it. It was the radiologist who had it. But the nurses didn't even know. They had to go look it up online. I was in the hospital for 4 days, and every single nurse came in and they were like, I don't know what this is. I have to go look it up.
But they never treated
So-
you for a stroke.
So what my question is, within the scientific community,
I know what they did every other
like
two
yourself, how could that be pushed or spread or suggested or recommended to the other communities, the neurology association, the MS association, all this other, that there could be more awareness, so when someone is taken to the hospital and they either had a TIA or they're going through stroke or they're complaining about the symptoms that they would usually have, that would come up on the radar instead of dismissing it either as, well, we're going to test you for MS and not even think about CADASIL because they don't know, they're not aware.
Yeah,
So I'm thinking a good push or a good, like what I wrote on mine is, how could we let the doctors and government officials, when AIDS came out, boy, that spread like, the information and awareness of that spread like that.
Then a lot of people start to
I
work
know
on
there's
it.
not as far as we know, there's not a whole lot of people
But the difference
affected
is
with
that,
CADASIL,
the difference is that
that
people can
awareness.
catch it. People don't
Right, that
catch
was
it, and
mandated.
it's new.
Yeah, but I just think if there was a celebrity, and we've talked about this before, if we could find one celebrity or athlete, professional athlete with it,
Then we'd
Well,
get.
it's like
it would be all over.
This
things
is-
like that. We need a celebrity.
Okay, so I have a question for you. So all of this is essential because it will allow, so let's say we have all that. We find the celebrity, your choice. I can think of Shakira, but you can think of someone else.
Brad Pitt.
You like Brad Pitt?
Let's
So
give
you
it
can
to
get the
Brad
two
Pitt.
together.
Already have
Yeah, the crack team, Shakira and Brad
Because
Pitt.
he's the spokesperson for CADASIL.
Who?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all.
Really?
Yeah.
It's on the, Together We Have Hope site.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm wondering if he's a spokesperson because he has it.
Who is
We'll
this?
have to check that
Tim
out.
Connick.
Is it all over? I don't know if he has CADASIL, but he's for that spokesperson for the literacy foundation.
Maybe we'll have-
So it might be a different.
He might have a Lyme disease.
Yeah. So let's say we have all that. Okay, we find the celebrity, we increase awareness, now people are being diagnosed, and there are resources, real resources and people interested in it. So what should happen next? And this is why I'm posing this question. When you are saying I want a cure, it's basically you want me or someone or your doctor to say I have CADASIL, and then they do the follow and they're like,